When Layla stepped into the CEO's office that rainy morning, clutching the envelope of money she'd spent months saving, she wasn't expecting mercy. She expected humiliation, but when the tall man behind the desk looked up, his eyes didn't hold anger, they held a strange, quiet recognition. What she didn't know was that years ago, she had already saved him, without even realizing it. The rain fell in sheets, washing the city clean, but inside Layla Khan's chest, everything still felt heavy, thick with dread, fear, and love all tangled together. She stood outside the towering glass building, her reflection blurred by raindrops. Behind those doors was the man her father owed everything to, the man people whispered about with both respect and fear. Zane Harrington, CEO of Harrington Enterprises, a man known for his ruthless decisions and unbreakable pride. Layla took a deep breath, gripping the brown envelope tighter. Her fingers were red from the cold. Inside it was every penny she'd earned over the past year, stitching dresses at night, cleaning offices, running errands for people who barely noticed her existence. She hadn't done it for wealth or recognition. She had done it for her father, the man who used to carry her on his shoulders and tell her she could reach the sky. Her father had been everything once, a proud contractor with dreams of building a company that would stand the test of time. But when a trusted partner betrayed him, leaving him drowning in debt, the collapse shattered him. Overnight, the man who had been her hero was reduced to silence, shame, and failing health. Layla couldn't bear watching him crumble. So here she was, standing in front of the man her father owed, ready to humble herself for the one person who had never let her fall. "Miss Layla Khan," the receptionist called softly. "Yes," she said, voice trembling but firm. "Mr. Harrington will see you now." The elevator ride to the top floor felt endless. Every floor that ticked past tightened the knot in her stomach. When the doors finally opened, she found herself facing a long corridor lined with glass walls, each one reflecting her nervous figure back at her, plain brown hair tied in a loose braid, modest clothes, weary eyes. When she entered his office, she almost forgot to breathe. It was vast, cold, and silent except for the distant hum of the rain against the glass. The man behind the desk didn't look up right away. He was signing documents with swift precision, his posture straight, his expression carved from stone. When he did finally lift his gaze, the world seemed to tilt. Zane Harrington's eyes were sharp, the kind that saw too much, missed nothing, and revealed little. He looked at her like he was trying to place her somewhere, like her presence stirred something he couldn't name. "Miss Khan," he said simply. "I was told you requested this meeting. What is it about?" Layla's hands trembled, but she held out the envelope. "My father's debt," she said softly. "I came to pay it." A faint flicker of surprise crossed his face, but it vanished almost instantly. "You? Why?" "Because he can't," she said, her voice catching. "He's not well, and it's been eating him alive. I can't watch him suffer like this." Zane leaned back in his chair, studying her. "Do you even know how much he owes me?" "I do. I don't have the full amount yet, but," she swallowed hard, forcing the words out. "I'll pay every cent. I'll work day and night if I have to. Please, just give me time." Her honesty disarmed him. She wasn't begging for pity, she was fighting for dignity. Most people who came to him for forgiveness hid behind excuses, lawyers, or fake tears. But this woman, this big, trembling, determined woman, came with her truth laid bare. "What's in that envelope?" he asked quietly. 32,000, she replied. "It's all I've managed to save so far." Zane took it from her hands, opened it, and glanced at the neatly stacked notes. The paper was damp from the rain, or maybe from the sweat of her shaking hands. "Tell me, Miss Khan," he said after a pause, "do you think this makes any difference? That a few thousand will change anything?" Layla met his eyes then, and for the first time, he saw the fire behind her exhaustion. "Maybe it doesn't," she said softly. "But it's what I have. And I'd rather try than sit home and watch my father break under guilt." For a long moment, neither spoke. Only the sound of rain filled the silence between them. Finally, Zane rose and walked toward the window, his reflection merging with the storm outside. "Your father, he took a loan 2 years ago. He was supposed to pay it back in 6 months. He disappeared." "I know," she whispered. "He wasn't running. He had a heart attack. He hasn't been the same since." Zane's eyes flickered. Something in his jaw tightened. When he spoke again, his tone had softened, though barely. "So you came here to take his place? To fix his mistakes?" "Yes." She took a shaky breath. He's my father, and I love him. That's not a mistake to fix, it's a promise to keep. He turned then, facing her fully, and for the first time, his expression wasn't cold. It was thoughtful, curious, haunted, even. Do you always carry other people's burdens like they're your own? Layla blinked, caught off guard. Someone has to, she murmured. Zayn stared at her a moment longer before saying quietly, you can stop worrying about the debt. Her eyes widened. What do you mean? I mean it's gone. Consider it paid. She froze. No, I can't accept that. It's not fair. My father owes you. He interrupted her, voice low but firm. He owes me nothing. Why? She whispered. Why would you just let it go? Zayn's lips curved into the faintest hint of a smile, the kind that didn't quite reach his eyes. Because I don't need your money. He paused, then added, but I do need something else. Her heart skipped. What is it? Dinner, he said simply. Tonight. Her eyes widened in confusion. Dinner. He nodded, sliding the envelope back toward her. You owe me nothing but dinner together. I'll send a car to pick you up. Layla stared at him, unable to process what had just happened. The man everyone called ruthless, heartless even, had just cleared her father's debt, and all he wanted was dinner. She left his office in a daze. The moment the elevator doors closed, she leaned against the wall, her heart pounding. Maybe it was a trick. Maybe he wanted to humiliate her. Or maybe there was something she didn't yet understand. That night, as she stood in front of her small cracked mirror, fixing her simple blue dress, she caught her reflection and whispered to herself, you can do this. The car arrived, sleek and black, so out of place in her narrow street. Her father watched from the doorway, frail and silent. Be careful, he said softly. I will, she promised, kissing his forehead. When she reached the restaurant, her breath caught. It was like stepping into another world, chandeliers, music, people dressed in elegance she could never afford. She wanted to turn back. But then she saw him, Zayn, standing by the entrance, his suit dark against the golden light. For a moment, she felt completely exposed. But when his gaze met hers, something strange happened. He smiled, not out of pity, but as if seeing her was enough to soften the entire room. And as she walked toward him, she didn't know that this dinner, this simple, unlikely meeting, would change both their lives. Forever. Because sometimes, the debts that matter most aren't written on paper. They're written on hearts waiting to be seen. She had come into his life to pay a debt, but in the quiet weeks that followed, Layla didn't realize that she was healing something far deeper, a wound Zayn had carried long before the money, before the power, before the loneliness. What began as one dinner to settle a debt slowly became a story neither of them could walk away from. The following weeks passed like the soft unfolding of spring after a long winter. What started as a single dinner became 2, then 3. Zayn had said it casually that night, dinner together, but neither of them had known how that one meal would pull open a door they hadn't even known was locked. At first, Layla was cautious. She had never belonged in his world, crystal glasses, soft music, expensive laughter. Every time she stepped into a place he chose, she felt eyes on her, measuring her, whispering silently about what she was doing there. But Zayn never made her feel small. When he looked at her, he didn't see the worn fabric of her clothes or the calluses on her fingers. He saw someone who spoke with honesty, who didn't play games or wear masks. In a world built on image, she was a rare truth. He started waiting for her calls, for her laughter that came too easily and her questions that cut through his silence like sunlight. She'd tease him for being too serious, too distant, too cold, and he'd find himself smiling, something he'd almost forgotten how to do. One evening, she arrived at his office again, her hands holding a small paper bag. I brought you something, she said, smiling shyly. He looked up from his desk. You didn't have to. I know, she said quickly. But you don't look like you eat real food. So, she handed him the bag. Homemade biryani. My father's recipe. Don't ask how it turned out, just be brave. Zayn laughed quietly, a sound so rare that his assistant peeked in through the glass door in shock. He took the bag, inhaling the aroma. You cooked this yourself, maybe, or maybe the kitchen gods helped, she said, pretending to sound mysterious. He leaned back in his chair. You know, most people bring me business proposals, not lunch. Then I guess I'm not most people, she replied, her smile soft but steady. He watched her, his amusement fading into quiet wonder. No, he thought, she's not. Later that night, after she left, he found himself unable to focus on work. He opened the small container she'd brought, took one bite, and paused. The taste pulled him somewhere far away, to a dusty construction site years ago, when he'd been a reckless teenager helping his father visit projects. He remembered a man pulling him out of danger when a scaffolding collapsed. That man had a gentle smile, and when he looked at Layla now, he could see his eyes in hers. He leaned back, realization dawning slowly, impossibly. Could it be her father? He stayed awake most of the night, staring out at the city lights, the pieces of memory falling into place like puzzle parts he hadn't known were missing. The next evening, he called her again. Dinner, she laughed. You eat more dinners with me than with your business partners. Maybe you're better company, he said without hesitation. Her laughter softened. That's a dangerous compliment, Mr. Harrington. I don't say things I don't mean, he replied quietly. When she arrived that night, he took her somewhere different, a small, cozy rooftop restaurant overlooking the city lights. No luxury, no formalities. Just soft music and an open sky. This doesn't look like your usual style, she said as they sat down. Maybe I needed a change, he answered. Maybe I needed something real. They ate in silence for a while, comfortable and easy. Then Zane's tone shifted, lower, thoughtful. Layla, your father, what did he do before the business failed? He was a contractor, she said. He built homes, schools, and small shops. He worked hard, maybe too hard. He always believed that every building had a soul, that if you build something with honesty, it lasts longer. Zane's chest tightened. Did he ever tell you about an accident, about saving someone? She frowned. You mean the site collapse? He broke his shoulder that day, but yes, he saved a boy. Why? Zane's gaze dropped. His voice came out low, almost broken. Because that boy was me. Layla froze. You. He nodded. I was 17. The site was one of my father's investments. I shouldn't have even been there, but your father pulled me away right before a wall came down. I never saw him again, until years later when his name appeared on a loan document. Her breath caught, her heart pounding so loudly it hurt. That's why you cleared the debt. He looked at her then, eyes soft but full of something deeper, gratitude, guilt, admiration all woven together. Your father saved my life, Layla. I could never take a cent from his family. But when I met you, it wasn't just that. I saw the same courage in you. The same heart. For a long time, she couldn't speak. The night air wrapped around them, filled with unspoken emotion. Finally, she whispered, you didn't have to do all this for us. I didn't do it for you, he said gently. I did it because it reminded me what it feels like to be human again. Her eyes glistened. You're not what people say you are you? He gave a faint smile. Maybe not, but you make me want to be better than what they say. Over the next few months, their lives began to intertwine in ways neither expected. Layla's father's health improved with Zane's quiet support. Zane started visiting their modest home, always humbly, never as the CEO, but as a man who respected the family that had once saved him. Layla found herself laughing more, dreaming more. Zane began trusting again, smiling without reason. Their worlds, though so far apart, began to bridge in simple, human ways, a shared meal, a walk in the park, a talk under fading light. But one evening, as the city glowed gold beneath the sunset, Zane took her hand. His usual confidence was replaced with something uncertain, almost vulnerable. Layla, he began softly, I don't want to just keep having dinners with you. She blinked, heart racing. What do you mean? I mean, he exhaled slowly. You came into my life to pay a debt. But every moment since, you've been giving me something no amount of money ever could. Peace, warmth, a reason to look forward to tomorrow. Her breath caught, her chest tightening. I want more than these dinners, he said, eyes locked on hers. I want mornings with you. I want to know what it's like to live without this emptiness I've carried for years. Layla's heart trembled. For a moment, all her insecurities, her size, her plainness, the gap between their worlds, came flooding back. Zane, she whispered, you deserve someone who fits beside you. Someone who belongs in your world. He stopped her by gently placing his hand over hers. You belong where you are loved, not where you look like you should. Her tears finally fell, and in that small, Fragile silence between them, the world seemed to pause. Months later, Layla stood beside him at a charity gala, not as someone out of place, but as the woman Zayn proudly introduced as the one who changed his life. People whispered, judged, envied, but it didn't matter. Zayn's hand found hers, firm and sure, grounding her in a sea of noise. Across the room, her father watched with quiet pride, eyes glistening. The man who once felt broken now smiled at the daughter who taught him that courage isn't measured by power, but by love. And when Zayn turned to Layla that night, he whispered, "You came to pay a debt. But you've given me everything I never knew I needed." Layla smiled through tears, replying softly, "Then I guess we're even." But they both knew, some debts were never meant to be repaid. Only cherished.